Are you in a crime scene that is in need of evaluating organic evidence? Do you have no recollection on how the victim met their untimely end? Then you need a forensic pathologist. For forensic pathology is a key aspect in the field study work of forensic science. The purpose of forensic pathology dates back to the early Renaissance period, as artisans studied the human body to learn more about it. The main work for the forensic pathologist is to determine the death of the death of the victim. However, there's many pros and cons as for working as a forensic pathologist. Crime is ever so persistent in society. It is always best to have a forensic pathologist analyze the evidence that's from the crime scene. The study of the body dates back to the early Renaissance period, as forensics as learning how a human came to untimely end began to modernize in the late 19th century. Forensic pathology was recognized as a science in 1812, and the first forensic pathologist was Rudolf Virchow. For his technique in the autopsy work was highly admired and is used today by modern forensic pathologists. Everybody would assume that for many crime TV shows that forensic pathologists are the workers that are on the crime scene. However, that is very false, as those shows would promote the study of crime and the advent of the justice system. It gives a false viewpoint on how this works. For forensic pathology works both in the labs and in court, for those who are unaware of that. Forensic pathology is given new cases every day throughout the year, and it works very diligently on the given victims to recollect and retrace on how they met their end. They collaborate with other departments in the forensic study field to be able to see if they can collect as much evidence that allocates with the victim and the scene of the crime. They get in terms of the court, they go to court to testify to address and evaluate what they have collected from the victim. Now let's take a viewpoint on the pros and cons of this. In the pro side, you can think this is a very interesting job. You learn new cases and you learn how the victim met their untimely end. However, this is a very intensive and strenuous work, as you are given one of the many only evidence from the crime scene, and damaging that while searching for it is very costly, as it could break any evidence that you could hold against the guilty, or you can sum up evidence, or you can sum up information that could also hurt the innocent. But however, the work for a pathologist is a key aspect for being one step closer to closing the case. The work for the pathologist began with the study of the body in the late Renaissance period. And the main work for a pathologist is to determine how the victim met their untimely fate. Pathology is a very crucial aspect in the forensic science, and is one of the known things because you are studying the body that was taken from the crime scene. There are many pros and cons to it, but forensic pathologist is a very important aspect. So please research today and become the next generation of future forensic pathologists.